Mr. President, Advocate Duma Boko, Minister State President Remuhasa, Minister Budale, Foreign Affairs, and Assistant Minister State President Ma'am Mupiting. And then I recognize all protocols standing as introduced by our press secretary. Bagai sujaka hosetsu huilwe rina raemela rayako Belgium, in particular to go and attend the Facet Conference, which is an initiative by Antwerp World Diamond Council, and they hosted it in collaboration, previously in collaboration with the government of Botswana last year. And this year, it was particularly important for us to go because they were discussing, or the conference was held under the theme of navigating a new era. And the conference discussed, of course, the current state of the diamond industry. And it focused on how the current events are impacting the fundamentals of the diamond industry, from an evolving mining landscape, the adaptability of the midstream traders, the challenges that are faced by retailers and brands in reaching customers, to the growing emphasis on origin and transparency driven by consumer demand and geopolitical tensions. So it is on the background of that that we went to Belgium with the President. And following the Facets Conference, we had several bilateral engagements, of which there are several announcements that the President will be able to speak to you through today. But I am aware that we also had already discussed with the state media previously when we were in Brussels, about some of the developments, some exciting developments that we managed to reach. And as I conclude and invite the President to the stage, I just wanted to also highlight that, of course, this is a very volatile time in the diamond industry. And I know that you've all been seeing some of the news coming up, and I wanted to just advance the President's statements by assuring everybody that the visit that we embarked on to the diamond industry actually generated market confidence. It generated market confidence, so do not feel any threatened by some of the news that we have seen, particular relation to the reduction of slashing of prices by De Beers. So with that, if I may, I wish to introduce and welcome to the podium the President of the Republic of Botswana, Advocate Duma Boko.
The dignitaries have all been welcomed and recognized. So it remains for me then to recognize the most important dignitaries. Good day, members of the press, fellow citizens, and distinguished guests. It is with great pride and renewed hope that I address you following our recent visit to Belgium, a journey that reaffirmed Botswana's position as a beacon of excellence in the diamond industry and a promising destination for international investment. The trip was not just about the challenges we face, but about the opportunities we can seize together. I will share with you three key areas of progress that inspire confidence in a brighter future for Botswana. The first is a revitalizing of the diamond industry and hope for recovery. At the Antwerp World Diamond Convention, I had the privilege of addressing some of the most influential players in the global diamond industry. While it is well documented that the diamond market has faced persistent challenges, there are emerging signs of hope. We are seeing slight signs of recovery in the rough diamond segment, with promising prospects for retail markets, especially in the United States. Botswana, as the world's largest diamond producer by value, stands tall in this recovery story. Our commitment to the sustainability and growth of the industry is unwavering. Let us take pride in the fact that Botswana continues to set the global standard for excellence in diamond production. As we look ahead to 2025, I urge us to approach the future with a blend of realism and optimism. We will overcome these market challenges because we are resilient, innovative, and united. The second, the restoration of market confidence and a partnership for prosperity. In Belgium, I reaffirmed Botswana's enduring partnership with De Beers, a collaboration that has been the cornerstone of our diamond industry for decades. While negotiations are ongoing, I want to assure all Botswana that these discussions are progressing well and will soon culminate in a stronger, more equitable agreement for our nation. Together, Botswana and De Beers are committed to tackling the momentary challenges in the diamond market. This partnership will continue to create opportunities for growth, not just for the industry, but for every Motswana whose livelihood is touched by diamonds. Be confident that this partnership will secure a brighter future for our diamond sector, a future where Botswana takes an even greater share of the value derived from our own natural wealth. Enhancement of investor confidence and positioning Botswana as a gateway to Africa. During my trip, I also had the honor of leading a business forum hosted by the Botswana Investment and Trade Center, where business leaders from Belgium were introduced to the immense opportunities Botswana offers. At this forum, I spoke about our nation's political stability, potential for world-class infrastructure, and the supportive investment environment we are cultivating. I was deeply encouraged by the enthusiasm of the investors, many of whom shared positive experiences of doing business in Botswana. We are creating a future where Botswana is not just a leader in diamonds, but a gateway for trade and investment across Africa and the world. Initiatives like our drive for renewable energy investment and diversification of the economy through industrial hemp are laying the foundation for sustainable economic growth. Botswana's role in diamond traceability. One of the most significant achievements of this trip was Botswana being granted approval to establish a verification node as part of the global initiative to certify the origins of diamonds. This means that Botswana will now align with G7 requirements by playing a direct role in verifying that diamonds do not originate from restricted regions, including Russia. This approval is not just a recognition of Botswana's leadership in the diamond industry. It is a vote of confidence in our transparency, governance, and commitment to ethical practices. The world is looking to Botswana as a trusted partner in ensuring that diamonds traded globally meet the highest standards of integrity. The verification node will position our country as a vital player in the global effort to ensure ethical sourcing, giving buyers and retailers confidence in the diamonds they purchase. This is a testament to Botswana's growing influence and leadership in shaping the future of the diamond industry. In conclusion, I see a brighter future for Botswana. Fellow Botswana, this trip to Belgium was about securing a better future for us all. The partnerships we strengthened and the agreements we advanced are designed to uplift every Botswana, from the miner in Joanning to the young entrepreneur in Tsabo. This is not just about policy, it's about people. It's about you. Together we are building a Botswana where every citizen can benefit from the riches of our land and the strength of our partnerships. The world recognizes the value of our natural resources, the strength of our partnerships, and the promise of our people. Yes, we face challenges, but we also have unprecedented opportunities. Together, we will build a Botswana where diamonds create prosperity for all, where investors flock to our shores, and where every Botswana can dream bigger and achieve more. This is our time to overcome, and overcome we shall. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Obviously, you're talking about a bright future, but the curiosity here is, as on when you were meeting the players in the diamond industry, was there ever a conversation, a real conversation, an honest conversation about the future of the diamond industry worldwide, the diamond economy worldwide? Are we not just kicking the tin can down the road, as Americans would say? If indeed we are, how far can we kick it before we can finally accept that we may not exist on diamonds alone? Thank you.
There's an overarching message from official discourse that the aim of the negotiations with the BS are merely about improving the sales of diamonds in the international market. And yet we know that industry observers know that mining and the sale of diamonds, or mining and polishing and cutting of diamonds, is the least section of the diamond value chain. And that you have just observed, Mr. President, that Botswana produces by value, at least in terms of value, the production of diamonds. And yet we know that the diamond industry worldwide is valued at between 800 to 1 trillion by value. And yet Botswana makes only about 1 billion to 2 billion per annum. Now, as a leading diamond producer by value, don't you think we're being ripped off and that we should be making more? And also given the fact that the National Resources Institute observed that Botswana diamonds are being undervalued by 200%. So by extension, I was wondering also that in your course of negotiating with DBS, given that Botswana lacks the skills and competence in geomology or knowledge of the entire value chain, to what extent have you sought assistance from multi-stakeholder interest groups, for instance, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, and the AU-based African Mining Vision and other interests like Extractive Industry Transparency International in order to augment the deficits that is clearly is observable in government negotiators. Thank you.
Thank you. One last one from Sello, then give the President a chance to respond.
Mr. President, the question I just wanted to ask is there a time frame on the conclusion of the discussions between De Beers and the Botswana government? What sort of time frame are we looking at? And secondly, I mean, historically, there's been a challenge amongst many rough diamond producer countries complaining about the fact that rough diamonds are taken out of this country, exported overseas without beneficiating them. In terms of the new agreement, can we see the Botswana government trying to push those who are sourcing our rough diamonds from Botswana from beneficiating? And what specifically is your government going to do to empower and capacitate local SMEs to make sure that they can get access to these rough diamonds and they can also be part of the value chain by beneficiating them? And probably lastly is, will this deal between De Beers and the Botswana government have any impact on other players in the industry, for example, like new players like maybe HB Antwerp? Thank you.
The Minister says she didn't hear the last part of your question. Reselo, can you just kindly repeat that?
The last part of my question.
Yes.
Well, I think a bone of contention in the past has been the role of relatively new startups. I know that many had seen HB Antwerp as a bit of a disruptor. And you know, the historical relationship between Botswana and De Beers has been quite a long one. This new deal between the Botswana government and De Beers, will it have an impact on maybe new players in the market, for example, like HB Antwerp, or can we expect that it won't? Thank you.
Thank you, Reselo. Mr. President?
The first question is, how difficult or how easy was it? It was both easy and difficult at the same time. Easy because the markets are very sensitive. They assess not just the language, the words that you use. They also assess your deportment, how you come across, how confident you seem, how sure you are of what you are presenting to them, and what the surrounding circumstances themselves indicate in addition to what you have to say. And so we stood on the firmest of grounds, having emerged from a successful transition that was both seamless and orderly, conducted at the level of the very highest standards of democracy and good practice. And so when you stand on such ground and you are talking about integrity and the ethics of sourcing, processing a commodity, there's no firmer ground than that. And that made life much easier than it might have been. That is but one part. The second is, whenever you engage in any setting, not just with De Beers, always, you mediate whatever differences, whatever disagreements, not with point of sword. And point of sword can mean words here, because some say words are like weapons, they wound sometimes. And so when you are dealing with others, you mediate your differences with civility and with respect. You state your propositions, you state them firmly, you support yourself with facts, and you are able, therefore, not just to communicate, but to also earn the respect and admiration of those with whom you are communicating. And we managed almost effortlessly to secure this part. We were dealing with very difficult situations of a market that was turbulent. There were uncertainties. And these uncertainties were also a function of the uncertainty of the investors and the key players in the diamond industry. And their sentiment carries a lot. in the period leading up to the time we were there, voter confidence, investor confidence, rather, and they vote with their money in us as an investment destination had fallen by over 20%. And so we had to bring ourselves up and lift ourselves to a level where we clawed back our credibility and the respect that we deserved. And we managed admirably to do this. Was it easy? Was it difficult? We secured the results. We got what we had gone to achieve. And sometimes hindsight is an exact science. When you're looking at things in hindsight, it seems easy. But when you venture into the terrain, it's the most difficult. And so I leave it to you to pass judgment on whether it was easy or not easy. All I can say is we went, we conquered. The second question is the future of diamonds. Are we not kicking the tin down the road, and how far can we kick it? First, we need to try and understand, to unpack some of these concepts and propositions. When we say kicking the can down the road, what exactly in flesh and blood terms, what are we talking about? So that the language doesn't become nebulous and high flow. We bring it down to brass tacks. What do we mean, kicking the can? Do we mean that there's no recognition that at some point we will mine the last stone from the earth? And are we not cognizant, therefore, of what should follow? Will we be smiling or crying at that point in time? The answer to that question is a resounding, we are alive to this. We have been alive to this. Even the previous regime, to their credit, have been alive to the fact that at some point diamonds will run out. We cannot depend on them forever. So, what then does it mean? It means, while we still have them, if that is what you understand by kicking the can, let's kick it. Let's kick it until we can't kick it anymore. But while we are kicking it, let's also position ourselves sustainably to survive beyond where the can will be kicked, will be given its last kick. And so that means, in real terms, flesh and blood terms, we must aggressively diversify our economy away from reliance on a single commodity, diamonds. And that is why, in addition to speaking to the diamond industry, we were addressing investors in renewable energy, in other sectors, infrastructure. And we have said that we are progressing along the lines of industrial, hemp, medical, cannabis. That is kicking the can, but also positioning yourself for even greater achievements post-diamonds. And so the recognition has always been there. What perhaps may be asked and or questioned and or challenged is whether enough has been done in the direction of diversification away from this over-reliance. And that is where the real debate is. And that is where intellectual discourse must focus, so that we come up with creative and robust solutions on how we move from diamonds and beyond, while we still are using the diamond revenue to power that diversification. And we are well on course in relation to that. And it seems to me that it will be spectacular when it hits. The question about improving sales only, first let's understand the market dynamics. When you say 800 billion to 1 trillion, where is it? How is it handled? How do you do business? What are the basic ground rules of commerce? You have a commodity. You can value your commodity and put it at whatever price you want. You have to sell this commodity to a market of individuals willing to buy. What is the value of the diamond? What is its value? It's a stone. Mined from the bowels of the earth. What is its value? Does it have any value at all? Who ascribes the value? What are the rules for the ascription of value to this stone? What has gone into this? It's a function of many, it's a confluence of many factors. And one of those factors is marketing. Marketing. When they started in 1947 and went to Hollywood and gave some of the most influential actors their diamond and said, diamonds are forever, what were they doing? They were conditioning the market, a la Pavlov. You know that Russian scientist, Pavlov, classical conditioning. They were conditioning the market to accept this stone as a stone of immense value. And the market responded, and diamonds were bought. So the value is a function of some of these factors. Now, where are we? We are at a point where we want more value. Now, we want this value in what? In the natural diamonds. And let's make a distinction, which is a non-distinction after all. It's a false conflict if I were in the area of private international law. Because we take the view that the diamond is the natural. Anything else is not a diamond, something else, a replica, it's a fake if you like. So the real deal is the natural stone. And that's the marketing now. This is the upshot of the marketing strategy and approach. The real deal, the diamond, is the natural diamond, mined from the earth in Botswana, so that Botswana becomes and continues to be the world's highest producer by value of that natural, not synthetic. Synthetic is something else. It belongs elsewhere. And so the focus now is on taking this stone from the mantle of our soils and giving it a living narrative that leaps and prances when you look at it. When you read about it, it literally leaps from the pages. Why? Because it tells a story of a democracy, entrenched, vibrant, rich, dynamic, energetic. A democracy that has people behind it. People who have a life story that is woven into the story of the stone. Their human rights are tied and riveted to this stone. When you buy this stone, you are speaking to their needs. You are servicing their requirements. So buy the stone. Forget the synthetic. It has no soul. The diamond has a soul, because that soul is the soul of the people of the Republic of Botswana. This is the marketing upshot. This is the cutting edge. And so when we go out and we tell this story, which we did and we've been doing, the response is now becoming overwhelming, because the market is responding and saying we are not insensitive, we are not indifferent, we are not apathetic. We want this story. We want to fuel this narrative. We want to support this, the livelihoods of the people behind this stone. And then the value will shoot up. Do we need anybody's assistance? We need all the assistance we can get. And we seek assistance when we need it. But sometimes we have the brains, we have the skills, we have what it takes. And where we feel we need more, we will ask for more. And so far, we've done really well. The next question, the time frame, any time for the conclusion of the agreement. Everything is almost done. Lawyers must listen to lawyers when they speak. Cease and desist. When you simplify it, just means stop. Don't do it. But they want to frame it in word pairs because they want precision. And that precision becomes sometimes a road to imprecision. So that now there's more interpretive latitude. You want to restrict any interpretive latitude. So sometimes the quibble is over the use of a word in law or the placement of a comma or a full stop. So these are what are holding up And when we are dealing at that level, you know that everything is but in place, just awaiting the final assent. Beneficiation, yes. We are moving in that direction. Beneficiation is also dependent on two key things. Not only those, but key. One, skills. Have we invested sufficiently in the skills that we need for the midstream value chain? And the answer may be no. The second is technology. Do we have the requisite technological capabilities? Until we get ourselves to that level of skill and technological aptitude or positioning, we must assess our circumstances. How are we situated relative to the other players in the space? It's called strategic positionality or situatedness. You need to assess that. And so we are pursuing beneficiation, but also alive to the limitations and on the trot, addressing those limitations as best we can so that we bring ourselves to the level of cutting edge. When it comes to mining, Botswana has no peer. The skills, the art, the science, the expertise in mining, in extraction, there we have consummate skill. We are unchallengeable as a country in terms of the expertise that we've generated and we command. But on the other aspects, we are still lacking. And so we need to upskill ourselves. We appreciate this. We realize this. And so startups, look, any deal that comes is assessed on its commercial viability and merit. None comes and is passed. So whoever you call them whatever names you call. When a deal comes, it will be duly assessed for its value, for its overall capacity to enhance us as a nation and improve the lot of Botswana. And so, what implications it may have, obviously, whatever the deal is, you look at pre-existing relationships. How do you preserve them? How do you deepen and strengthen your own position without doing violence to positions to which you have already committed? It's basic common sense, isn't it? That's what it is. It doesn't change because I'm sitting here or somebody is sitting over there. The rules are still the same. The considerations are still the same. So this is what it is, folks. And I can say to you, I say it with full confidence and enthusiasm, the future of this country is bright. It is a future that is in good hands. And in whose hands is this future? It is in your hands. That's why it is bright. It is in the hands of this dynamic, vibrant collective that includes yourselves. So, thank you very much. The future is bright.
Two last questions, two burning questions.
Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Secretary. And Mr. President, I just firstly like to start by saying I know just how big of an advocate you are for human rights, and rightfully so. And I just wanted to know then, since we're talking about diamonds, and I heard you stress emphatically about how we pride ourselves by, producing ethically sourced diamonds. But then, where does one draw the line if we continue exporting our diamonds to, say, places like Israel, particularly Israel, which we know Tel Aviv is one of the biggest importers and exporters of diamonds? Are we not, and I feel like since we're talking about facets, this is quite a multifaceted question. Maybe Honorable Butali and Gwenawenda Wood might want to jump on it as well. Because where does one draw the line if our diamonds still actively enable Israel to, I don't want to be delicate and say, carry on a war? It's not a war, it's very much one-sided. So where do we draw a line as a country by actively enabling an apartheid state? And are we still going to be on the same stance as, say, the previous administration, where they said Israel has the right to defend itself, or is it something that we are going to take rather seriously? Thank you.
My first question, which countries will be verifying the diamonds in Botswana after we approve just the second verification site? And also, who will be responsible for undertaking this verification? Are you going to be setting up new structures for this process? And lastly, the amount of carats are expected to be verified in Botswana. Thank you.
Always we need to frame the discourse around some context, so that when we do that, we don't get sidetracked and carried away. There are certain fundamental considerations in relation to any conflict situation. Have we imposed any sanctions as Botswana on, in this case, the state of Israel? No, we haven't. Is it something we may do? Nobody knows. What are the implications of the stance that we currently have in relation to the trading of our diamonds? Because that stance is also determined by what prior positions we have taken. We condemn aggression. We do. And we've stated categorically that we do. We believe in dialogue, peaceful settlement of disputes, consistent with our approach and our culture. And so our stance is not based on what state, it is based on the principles at stake. And where there's aggression, we draw the attention of the world to the protocols and the instruments internationally under international law that regulate the situation. And we urge that those be enforced and upheld. That is a position you take and you state. Now, public international law, so that we are not confused about these things, is also a function of sometimes might and sometimes whether you are able to enforce. And public international law largely depends on what they call the shame factor, that you raise the issues enough to shame whoever is in the wrong and cause them, because you'd have pricked their consciences, if any they have, to change. And that's all you can do. Botswana cannot go out and enforce physically anything. Many countries can't because of the enormity of the task and the resource implications thereof. So, until we get to a point where, as in the Russian situation, the whole world, the major powers, took a position and said, Russian diamonds prohibited. Do we have a choice? Can we go a different direction? Maybe we can, but it would be to our detriment, would perish. So self-preservation dictates that we stay and say, yes, we don't like aggression. Whoever started it, whoever is continuing it, we just don't like aggression as a dispute resolution method under public international law. And so we urge the parties to find each other. That's all we can do. And then we become a subject of the regime that is in place, which is to prohibit Russian diamonds from the market. That's where we are. That's the reality of the situation, and we can't run away from it. So what is our position on Russian diamonds? It is the position of the world, really. There's nothing we can do. They are not our diamonds. And we didn't stop anybody from selling the diamonds. The world did. And when the world comes to us and says, when you certify, you are not going to certify diamonds from conflict areas, or blood diamonds as they call them, we are bound by that arrangement. Which countries will verify? All countries that feel like verifying. South Africa and Namibia had also applied to become nodes. They didn't get it this time around. They may get it later. We'll support them. And so we would encourage them and others, including Angola, to certify here. It's easier. It's more convenient. It's African solidarity. And Botswana is the best place to be anyway, for them and for the world. So we hope, we trust that they will certify here until they can certify for themselves. And so these are the thoughts on the issues. And I know you are dying to pursue the engagements, and I would love that. I'm a Socratic man in the world of ideas. I thrive on discourse, I thrive on engagement, I thrive on banging our heads together. And when we do, I can assure you, you'll not find me wanting. You'll find me on top of my game. I always bring my A game to any situation. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank
Happy
you
to
very
have
much,
interacted with you,
Mr.
members of the press.
President. At this point in time, Rebutale will come to the podium to give us a vote of thanks. Unless, Minister Kenewendo, do you have anything that you want to respond to? You can add. If the President allows. Mr. President? Not allowed. Minister Butale, do you want to come and give us a... Oh, she can...
I know. I wanted you to say something, Mr. President. I wanted to add, first, let me take a cue from the President and greet everybody at home and our esteemed guests. I wanted to reiterate the point of negotiations, Mr. President, that while the lawyers are working on the I's and T's, the President had given some fresh instructions to ensure that we are getting the most out of this deal. So it's not just that we've only been working on the I's and T's, and I wanted for you to get that he has given very clear direction on what's expected in that deal. And then on the position for G7, I also wanted to add that the G7 constitutes 70% of our market. And so it's very important that we focus on protecting our market and ensuring that there is no disruption in the sales of our diamonds. And then lastly, the President spoke about building market confidence. He was the only one who spoke to the importance of natural diamonds and the threat that is posed by lab-grown diamonds, and being very clear that it is important that our partners invest in natural diamonds, but also in provenance of the Botswana story. And so that indeed generated a lot of interest in Botswana and generated a lot of interest for people to visit here. And I can confirm that the Natural Diamonds Council is currently here in Botswana, and they are shooting around the provenance story in Botswana. And then I think, Mr. President, you forgot one of the announcements you made in Brussels around one of our site holders committing to increasing salaries and being a leader within the diamond space to ensuring that they adhere to the cause of a living wage. And that is something that was announced by one of the site holders and polishers here, Star Gems, and the President made such an announcement in Brussels. And then lastly, I know I've been saying lastly, but this is really the last one. I think it is really worth noting that we are not losing 200% of our value in diamonds. We have our own diamond valuers here. That matter of fact, we have been cautioned around our pricing. That Angola is selling at 40-50% discount, and we're not going lower. So we are not losing 200% of our value. Instead, we are working on protecting the value in our natural diamonds, and that is something that we were very clear in the President's statement in Antwerp. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. At this point in time, I would like Rebutale to come and give us a short vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. Mr. President, ministers here present, members of the Fourth Estate, I think we have indeed done what we came here to do, which is to ensure that the public is informed about the purpose for which the President visited Belgium and the important milestones that were achieved during this visit. I think it will suffice for me to just say that this was indeed a very successful trip because, as you know, Botswana and Belgium have been enjoying excellent bilateral relations since 1975, and it was important that during this time where there were issues and uncertainties around a commodity like diamond, which is common between the two nations, that the two nations or leaders of the two nations met to provide leadership and guidance on the way forward in terms of diamonds. The President gave a very lucid, clear message that as Botswana or as the new government, we want partnerships. We want international cooperating partners to partner with us. We are in a hurry to create jobs. We are in a hurry to industrialize. And he met also with the Botswana living in the diaspora and reiterated what he has been saying, which is that he wants an engaged citizenry. He wants every one of us to play a role. So thank you very much. And members of the press, as we always say, you are partners in development, and we value your role in this journey towards a better Botswana. I thank you.